The Brothers Karamazov, Book 5, Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is structured in this way. The chapter both begins and ends with a conversation between Alyosha and Madame Khokhlakov, and in the middle, a conversation between Alyosha and Lise, which itself breaks into two main topics. Alyosha is at the Khokhlakovs again because that's where Katerina Ivanovna lives. Katerina is a friend of Madame Khokhlakov. Lise is the daughter. Alyosha is there to report on the success, as he says in the previous chapter, but actually the lack of success that he had giving Katerina's 200 rubles to the officer. As he approaches, he has his first conversation with the Madame in this chapter, and she gives her opinion of the latest happenings, and she talks about the drama, the fainting spell that Katerina had because she's been so rejected by Dmitri. She talks about Lise, and it looks nice and kind for a while. Looks like this mom is saying something nice about her daughter, which is that she's never seen her with this type of personality. But then, as you hear her out, you realize she's actually complaining to Alyosha because she's comparing herself to Alyosha and basically saying, Lise treats you better than she treats me. So the exact opposite of love is when a mother wants something from her daughter, and so she's not the stable Christian ideal of love, the Madame. All she's worried about is receiving from Lise in this conversation, not getting. Alyosha goes in to talk to Lise, and their conversation is about two things. The first thing is he reports on his conversation with the officer, and we get really just a recap of the previous chapter, a rehashing of the previous chapter. But what's unique about it is the previous chapter was obviously told through the lens of the narrator, and this one through the analytical, the philosophy, the worldview of Alyosha. So it's much more penetrating and insightful and understanding in this chapter because Alyosha has reflected on it. Lise even helps us comment and see that and say, wow, you're so insightful. Then he moves on to the second part of the conversation with Lise, is their relationship with each other. And he's talking about leaving the monastery, and we get some insight about how Alyosha feels about books 2, 3, and 4, what's happened in the last 2 days. And it's shocking and it's surprising. We're not expecting this as we've read so far from Alyosha. We're not expecting what he says. My brothers are destroying themselves, he went on. My father too. And they are destroying others with them. It's the primitive force of the Karamazovs. As Father Paisy said the other day, a crude, unbridled earthly force. Does the Spirit of God move above that force? Even that I don't know. I only know that I too am a Karamazov. Me, a monk? A monk? Am I a monk, Lise? You said just now that I was. Yes, I did. And perhaps I don't believe in God. You don't believe? What is the matter? Said Lise quietly and gently. But Alyosha did not answer. There was something too mysterious, too subjective in these last words of his, perhaps obscure to himself, but yet torturing him. And now on top of it all, my friend, the best man in the world is leaving the earth. If you knew, Lise, how bound up in soul I am with him, and then I shall be left alone, and we shall be together. We weren't expecting Alyosha, our Christian hero, to express doubt. But of course, Dostoevsky is wanting to communicate that the Christian faith is not without doubt. And as one gentleman, one critic writing on the book, noted that in Dostoevsky's journals, he felt that he could do a better job of doubting from inside the Christian faith than someone outside the Christian faith could do. And so Dostoevsky, in other words, he's not scared of giving Alyosha, our Christian ideal, our Christian hero, a good bit of doubt. And I think that the most important part of Alyosha's doubt is where Dostoevsky places it. So in Book 5, we have some of the most jarring, shaking, anti-Christ rhetoric from Ivan that any true believer must deal with on a philosophical and personal level. And yet Dostoevsky places Alyosha's doubt before that conversation with Ivan and not after. And it's interesting, if we could delve into the psychology of Alyosha, the very next comment he makes after he says that perhaps he doesn't believe in God, and perhaps the stain of being a Karamazov, of being in a family of sensualists, perhaps is more powerful than the Holy Spirit, than the Spirit of God. So he's sort of made those two confessions, that he doesn't know if the new nature by the Spirit is actually able to overcome the old nature of the Karamazov sensuality, and that perhaps he doesn't believe in God. The very next thing he brings up is the death of Zosima. So likely the chaos that is his family and the death of Zosima are shaking his faith. And again, it's interesting that that faith shaking is before his great conversation with Ivan in this book. And then, as I said, the chapter ends how it begins, with a conversation with Madame Khokhlakov, and though the topic is slightly different, the so what is still the same. What is Madame Khokhlakov worried about? She doesn't want her daughter to marry Alyosha. Why? Because Alyosha is a bad guy? No, because when daughters get married, then moms don't get any attention. And so you can see, again, Madame Khokhlakov is the exact opposite of what a loving person would be. A loving person wants what's best for their daughter, and Madame Khokhlakov wants what's best for herself.